Welcome back. Tymebank got everybody excited with a promise to list in the US with a secondary listing on the JSE, but the small print says it is years away. Here's Conrad Jonker, CEO of Tymebank, on why the US is the focus.
You know, for a business like ours, who has the ambition to be a world-leading multi-country bank, it makes sense to go in search of capital markets where the markets are the deepest possible markets. And the deepest capital markets in the world are in New York. It's the New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq. And so that's what really makes sense for us. We think of ourselves in following in the footsteps of the likes of Nubank, which is a Brazilian digital bank that listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
We did just see somebody's PIN, and then they showed us their account number.
Yeah, did we see? Was that the PIN? Oh, wow.
Let's pretend we never saw that. It talks sense. I mean, if you want to raise capital, you go where the capital is. I mean, to your point of how many trillions in tax, the money's in America.
Yeah, I still don't know how they make money. So you're going to explain in front of everybody how Tymebank makes money.
I have no idea how Tymebank makes money.
I don't know. I don't work for them, so I can't help you there.
I'm just bemused that this bank, which basically is kiosks at Pick and Pay, which no one goes to. I mean, what are the Americans going to say about this? Who's Pick and Pay? What's the kiosk? How does this work?
And I don't know how all these banks make money, you know, they don't charge anything or that. I don't know where the money comes from. I'm still very skeptical about this.
Guys, don't listen to old people talking about banks, okay? Challenger banks have been there. They've been on the sandbox in the UK. They proved to work. Revolut is one of the biggest ones.
Sure.
They are listed in the stock market. There's the other one is TransferWise. It's now called just Wise. They're also the second biggest. They're also listed on the stock market. If you want to know how they make money, look at those two. I think Tymebank is looking at them and
Will
saying,
you explain for us?
Oh, okay, so those guys are doing that. I want to do the same.
But how do they make money?
How do they make money?
But here's another question. How many bank accounts do you have, David?
One.
Bright?
Many, not one, 4,
Okay,
5.
I was going to say, okay, then I understand.
Yeah, I understand why I'm old.
Yeah, me too. Because I was trying to...
I have a Tymebank account.
So I got to about 120 million private bank accounts in South Africa with a population of 60 million. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It does.
It does.
Bright.
Yeah, go where you're taken care of.
Standard Bank make no money out of me. I never borrow money. I haven't got debt. And I think they'll make when I use my card, probably. Yeah.
No, but then you get back on your account.
Yes, I do.
I get back more on your account.
My wife spends that, though.
No, but it is. And I mean, the only time like I use anything is I get a phone call on my birthday every year from the banker.
You do?
You don't get a phone call on your birthday?
No.
Fire your bank.
Awkward, because I'm also Standard Bank.
I did get a gold pen after 50 years, which I had to demand. I had to send emails to the top people.
So producers, Doc, saying you should write them an email. Perhaps write them a letter. Send them a letter.
Strongly worded.
Strongly worded. Staying with Standard Bank for a moment, they came out with an early trading update for the first 5 months of the year. Low to middle single-digit HEPS, which is one way of saying below 10%. Growth impairments are currently hurting as our currency moves, but the ROE still within that 17 to 20% target range. Way down on previous numbers, but that was like COVID Philip still sort of working its way through the system. This is not a thrilling update, but it's not bad, and it's still not expensive.
No, that's the bottom line. What you do read into that is that the weak currencies in Africa start to impact. And now we're getting a stronger rand, which is also going to impact on profitability. It's going to keep a lid. We got all the benefits when the rand was weak. You're going to get the opposite now. But Africa's a worry. You know, the currency there for many of the operations that...
we've seen that, right?
Yeah.
MTN, Nampak,
MultiChoice. And those are not strong economies. So the stronger the rand gets, the worse it's going to be for the bottom line. So watch that. You know, that's just one of the inhibitors.
Are you just buying your Resolute and Wise, or can I interest you in a bank 1.4 price to book, 20 ROE, 8 PE, 8 dividend yield?
I think you asked me the exact same question in 2015, December.
Quite, yes, awkwardly possible.
No, so the issue with that is that I went to JP Morgan then, okay? So just put them side by side. Put a graph here or something.
You don't do graphs on this.
Yeah, side by side.
Draw it in the air. Just draw it like...
Basically, this is JP Morgan. This is Standard Bank.
That's
This
high-end
is
graphics.
ABSA. This is name your favorite bank
These
in
banks
South
are
Africa.
20-30% this month.
So the reason why I'm choosing Standard Bank here, because when you look at the assets that they own and the operations that they have, is similar to JP Morgan. It's investment banking, the whole of
Jamie
Africa.
Dimon somewhere is turning in his sleep. saying,
No, I'm just saying
nightmare.
investment banking and then your normal banking and then housing, all that stuff. But all I'm saying is, I don't know. I think I made the right choice.
Okay, we can't get the young and interested. Even after a massive run, these banks are not expensive.
They're not. And the point we discussed on Wednesday night was that as interest rates start to come down, those high yields become very attractive.
Yeah.
So you're going to get buying for yield. I know that Bright's got a wonderful yielder in Coronation, so he's not going to be persuaded to switch. But I think for some of the older type investors, I think those high yields are going to become very attractive.
But what about capital appreciation? Guys, we always talk about yield.
No, I don't. I'm on your side of this. This is just for the show.
Did you guys notice that NVIDIA went down last night? You talk about capital appreciation.
Yes,
I didn't
it
know
did.
NVIDIA was allowed to do red days. Must I sell now? I
It's up 46% this
it went
month.
down, but it was.
up
I woke up
It
this
was
morning.
up 17% in 7 days.
4:30 this morning. I'm having my coffee. I check my NVIDIA share. It went down.
17% in 7 days. I'll take one down day. Come on.
It's the first down day in the month I've held it. It's insane. Gilead Sciences closed up 8.5% after experimental twice-yearly injection completely prevented HIV cases in women and adolescent girls in Africa, marking the first successful large trial of this promising new drug regime. If you recognize that, that is your tweet word for word, but 100%.
That was, so I
staggering.
personally removed 100% from my tweet, but it was 100% removal of HIV, which is exceptional. Can they take this to stage 3 and let's go?
Can they just, forget the stages.
And it's twice a year.
Twice a year.
Yes. Twice a year, and it is gone, just vanished.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
We are seeing, but if you look at this, and if you look at what are they, GLP-1, and we are seeing big revolutions in drugs.
I think drug makers have been in the background working on very hard, trying to solve a lot of hard problems. It's just that we never tweeted about them. We never wrote about them.
They're bringing them to market.
But now they are coming to market, and we've seen, early successes like the GLP-1s. And now people are like, biotechs are a thing again, because biotechs were known for being very volatile, hence why most of them are listed in the in the Nasdaq, not in the New York Stock Exchange.
There's one point I bring out, and I always worry when governments start to put pressure on pharmaceutical companies.
They always do.
They do that.
Very
They want
highly
to
regulated.
Because you need the R&D. Without that massive, these drugs just don't come overnight. There's not some scientist in a garage somewhere that invents these.
Yeah, for example,
and that's why I say you need that R&D. R&D is so important. And then you get the cliff, you get the
17 years.
Yeah.
No, so basically the top 4 biggest pharma companies, on average per quarter, they spend about 2.8 billion US dollars in that R&D that you speak of. But after 20 years of, once they've gotten this drug, and after 20 years, anyone could, get a generic of it, which is...
Yeah, and it's
but
a fair
they
point.
deserve the patent. They deserve the returns.
And
because of the money they put
their
down.
HIV drug, they can't make money on that, right? But they can make it on the they can't go and charge poor people to
Lots
live.
of monies. No.
But you can on your GLPs. And the fun fact of GLP-1s, now research is coming out saying it stops people smoking.
And
don't
drinking,
like that.
and lots of
And
things.
drinking,
Yep.
and gambling.
And in a week of surprises, a top contender must surely be Telkom, who managed real solid results just when most of us had given up. Here's Nkululeko Dlamini, CFO Telkom, on what boosted earnings.
Indeed, a very good and solid performance in this financial year for us at Telkom. And a number of areas of focus that we've driven in the year. One has been to ensure that as much as we know that there is challenges in the economy and customers are quite strained, we still were able to see a growth in our subscriber base, basically, and we've now surpassed 20 million in our business.
Telkom's a stock I haven't looked at in 100
No,
years.
don't.
Then suddenly made money. I'm sure we just move on. I'm like a bit tight for time.
No, so if you
They're
look,
dragged down by the legacy issues. That's still a big, big problem.
yeah.
You can't let that go. Yeah.
No, even if you look at Vodacom and MTN, which don't have legacy issues, they still got the Africa problem we spoke about at Standard Bank, which Telkom doesn't have. They lay down
Utilities.
Yeah, they lay down a lot of fiber.
Yeah.
So that's starting to bear fruit. But there's still the issue of financial engineering. There's too much going on at Telkom. They're trying to sell the buildings. They're trying to do this.
They are trying to be too clever.
It always feels like they're messing with that HEPS number.
Yeah, no, fair point. Grindrod gets another win as it proves it can do what the state simply can't. Hot on the heels of managing the Maputo ports container terminal, they've been announced as the preferred bidder alongside DP Worldwide for the Richards Bay container terminal. And
Who's going to win against DP Worldwide? Who's going to win with anything from the UAE? They've got endless money pockets.
So it's Grindrod and DP World are together.
Okay, makes sense.
yeah.
But the thing is that, forget the state. Transnet can't fix it, so let's bring the private sector in. We started to see that. We are like, 80, 90 days into no load shedding.
Yeah, and I like that,
shouldn't
you
have
can
said that.
privatize ports, but
You should never have put a curse on
I'm
it.
touching wood. You have no idea how much wood. Or maybe the surprise of the week is Nampak, who really does win with a trading update showing they'll make a chunky profit from continuing operations after a nasty loss last year. The stock, 23% on the news.
his favorite
This
company.
thing was bankrupt just...
Well, it's still only worth 1.8 billion. I mean, after years and years and years and years of being on the market, your market cap is 1.8 billion. Just gives you an idea of the extent of the problems that they've had. Listen, they've thrown buckets and buckets and buckets of money. So eventually it has to give you some kind of return. Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is it is finally actually turning around and it is the real
Yeah, it's going to take a long time to get to where it was.
Results out next Friday. We'll get some colour to it. But okay. Yeah, skeptical. I agreed. It's not something that I... packaging companies, ever since Astrapac delisted about 20 years ago. And finally, we all hated our tolls here in Johannesburg. And finally, as a sop to voters, and that didn't work, they went away last month. But we're not unique in hating on tolls. New York City spent 17 years and $100 million rolling out congestion toll cameras, only for the state's governor to cancel the whole shindig 2 weeks ahead of launch. Maybe we should just use bicycles. Literally, $100 million, 17 years. She comes up and says, nah, fam, we're not going to do it after all.
Wow, that's a lot of money to spend. But at least we created jobs in the way.
How are you going to stop those cars in New York?
You know what, you're just going to charge them.
Yeah.
Like in London.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
Yeah. I
Leave
want to
it there.
see that.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen. Now you've got fancy cameras for selfies. David, Bright, appreciate the time. Everyone have a good evening and an even greater weekend.